G'day viewers, this is the news, the Train Sim World News. As usual, I read these articles to improve the accessibility and to bring the information to everybody. There's news about Manchester Airport coming soon. It's got a release date now, and we'll get into that in a moment. But there's also been a little teaser video released, so let's get into that right now. Of course there's a 66. I spent a week in Manchester on my UK trip. Whoa, that bus just went round there at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Bit of drifting action on the bus. So you get the 323 and the 66. All the other stuff requires other routes and trains in your DLC collection. Righto, let's pause that there. And let's crank up the proper music. Alrighty then, Thomson Simulation are making their Train Sim World debut. Manchester Airport Commuter is coming to Train Sim World 5 on the 1st of July, which probably means I'll get to stream it at some point earlier than that. It did stream on Alan Thompson's own channel on Twitch this morning. I will pop a link into the chat. It did crash a few times while they were playing, which is a little bit of a worry so close to release. Anyway, we can see the key art here of 323 number 224 at Heald Green with a Airbus flying overhead. Manchester Airport Commuter has been teased and talked about over the last few months, first appearing on our roadmap in 2024. If you're hearing about this new route for the first time, you can go back and read the previous updates, and we won't because we have before. ATS was started in 2017 by YouTuber Alan Thompson and Train Simulator Classic route builder Peter Mitchell. Their main goal at the time was to ensure anyone could produce and publish content for Train Sim Classic in a way that worked for everyone, and after 4 successful years they started to look into development for Train Sim World. Once the team was established with Hayden and Danny at the helm, they were quick to dive right in with support from the community and Dovetail Games and settled on the 27-mile Manchester Airport Commuter route. There has been a bit of scuttlebutt about the team working on the route, and I have to say, having lived in the contracting world, sometimes you're paid on completion, sometimes you're paid as you go, sometimes you're paid like a salary. And all I will say about the discussions that came up was that be sure how you're being paid as a contractor. It's really important to understand that. And I think the issue in the particular case that was discussed a fair bit, and I'm not going to cover it here, people can go find it yourself. In that particular case, I think there was a misunderstanding in how an individual was going to get paid and when. Alrighty, so the Manchester to Alderley Edge, and we can see it's not just an out and back, it's got a couple of legs, and there's a Y with an extra bit hanging off the end. So there's 27 miles across 2 lines via Stockport and Manchester Airport. I think the airport's this side on the right from memory. Licensed overhead aircraft, runway lights and a skywalk. Route hopping with the Glossop Line add-on. The stations are Manchester Piccadilly, Ardwick Depot, Longsight Depot, Levenshulme, Heaton Chapel, Stockport, Cheadle Hulme, Handforth, Wilmslow, Alderley Edge, Style, Manchester Airport, Heald Green, Gatley, East Didsbury, Burnage, and Moldeth Road. Or is it Moldeth Road? As usual, if I get any of these names wrong, please feel free to correct me. I do actually welcome the corrections. It's helpful. Explore 27 miles of track out from Manchester Piccadilly through the suburban countryside setting of Alderley Edge via Manchester Airport. A railway network with a complex history, the lines which service the heart of Manchester date back as far as the 1840s. The main line through Stockport was established as a major trunk route and quickly became overloaded. It was supplemented in the early 1900s with the addition of the Style Line, an alternative path between Wilmslow and Manchester. In 1993, a spur would be built off this line to serve Manchester Airport, taking trains directly under the flight path and right next to EGCC's second air terminal. You can see here the modern rail bridge through the very historic area that's been quite renewed of Manchester. I was actually relatively impressed with the centre of Manchester, to be honest, on my trip. It was quite a tasteful blend of the old and the new in most areas. The route add-on includes both spines, a main line via Stockport and the Style Line via Manchester Airport, converging at Wilmslow. Both branches offer busy commuter traffic into the heart of Manchester. We can see here an image inside the station, the PIS showing Macclesfield Crewe and Blackpool North. The station signage seems relatively faithful. It does seem to match my memory of the station, which is pretty cool. Manchester Piccadilly, first seen in the Glossop Line route add-on, forms the focal point for passenger services in Manchester Airport Commuter, with a full station concourse and fully explorable Metrolink and taxi rank areas. Route hopping will also be available for players that own the Glossop Line. I did actually pick up a black cab from the taxi rank outside of Manchester Piccadilly, simply because I wanted to ride in a black cab, and I hadn't. So I did. A short stretch of the line out to Ardwick shares that of Glossop Line before branching off south into new territory via Longsight and Stockport. Multiple modelled depots lie along the route, including at Ardwick, Longsight, Manchester International Depot and Stockport sidings. Neutral sections are also included at the relevant parts of the route. The 323 handles neutral sections by itself, so you won't have to do anything special. You can see here an image of Manchester Airport Station with a 323 sitting in the platform. A little short 323. Is it a 3 car? Looks like it. Maybe a 4. Could be a 4. It's a 3. It's hard to tell. Maybe it's a 3. The route's namesake Manchester Airport and its dedicated station are modelled with the appropriate signage and features, as well as the airport skywalk, which is best seen at night. The runway and approach lights can be seen along with licensed Airbus aircraft flying overhead, like those seen on TrainSim World 5's Frankfurt-Fulda route, making for some impressive photo mode shots. Neutral section functionality all features on relevant parts of the route. It's a good thing it's Airbus. Boeing's might land on the train. Northern Class 323 EMU plus the Class 66 Diesel Locomotive. There's already been a lot of whinging about it being a 66 again, and the 323 again. This is the first route from a small developer, so I think naturally enough they're going to take existing stock and reuse it. I think that's quite normal and should be within our expectations. The route opens the door for a lot of possibilities for other stock in the future. Both new and existing players of TrainSim World will likely be familiar with simple to operate Class 323 EMU, electric multiple unit, as seen in the training centre, and Glossop Line, of course, and Birmingham Central. These popular units with their distinctive traction motor noise were first introduced in 1994 and see use both on the Birmingham Cross City Line and in the Greater Manchester area. The latter trains are run by Northern. See here up on the viaduct through Manchester. Whilst the units remain much the same as from previous two route add-ons, they're featured in the Manchester Airport Commuter services feature a functioning Conductor Mode or Guard Mode. See the 323 here passing a Class 66. And I do appreciate, the photographer in me appreciates that they actually captured the driver looking at the 66. It's kind of cool. The Class 66 is also included for freight services with FKA Wagons. So they're the intermodals. Timetable service layers and gameplay. We can see here 323224 sitting at Alderley Edge. Similar to Train Sim World's San Bernardino line, players will be able to explore the route across two separate timetables. A weekday schedule, including freight, will form the standard set of passenger operations in addition to the alternative Sunday patterns. These timetables will make great use of all four featured depots and sidings for a variety of movements, including shunting, coupling and washing runs, meaning even after passenger services are complete, the action doesn't stop. In my Discord, there's been quite a bit of discussion about the non-revenue runs, and people saying they don't like little short runs if they're just used to bulk out the timetable. I actually quite like little short runs, and I know the people that play at shift from start to finish through the timetable also tend to enjoy them. Players with other add-ons in their collection will be able to see and operate additional services along the route. These include Class 350 services from West Coast Mainline South, operating from Manchester Piccadilly to Manchester Airport and Ardwick Depot. Avanti West Coast Class 390 Pendolino services between Wilmslow or Stockport to Manchester Piccadilly plus static stock at alongside Electric TMD, which is the maintenance depot. We can see here a 323 and a Pendolino sitting at Manchester Piccadilly. I rode a Transport for Wales, I think a 170 into here. ScotRail Class 158 services between Manchester Piccadilly and Manchester Airport. EMT Class 158 services from Midland Mainline, operating services between Manchester Piccadilly and Stockport. Class 87 rail tour services in the weekday timetable from Just Train's West Coast Mainline Preston Carlisle route. Railhead treatment train services and freight via Heald Green and Stockport. Class 150 and 153 services from Cardiff City Network. These will appear in a variety of formations, including different mixed 150 and 153 combos. Great to see those because Transport for Wales is a feature at Manchester Piccadilly. Mastery rewards, both route posters and a Scene. Yes, Alex, well done. A Scene tile will be available to unlock as part of Train Sim World 5's Mastery rewards. The scenery tile, spelled properly this time, will feature track workers waiting to place an emergency speed restriction at Slade Lane Junction, drive miles and complete scenarios to unlock the option to toggle them. I wonder if it puts a speed restriction on when it turns up. That would be interesting. Got the two different key arts for the route, both featuring the 323. Train Sim World 5 Manchester Airport Commuter Manchester to Alderley Edge route add-on will be released on the 1st of July for Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, Epic's Game Store and Steam for £24.99, €29.99 and $29.99. And I note that's continuing the series of not releasing for Gen 8 consoles. If you like Train Sim World and you want to continue with the game, it really is time to update your console if it's affordable for you to do so. Because unfortunately for Gen 8 people, a lot of the new routes and new content are only coming out for Gen 9 and PC. Players on Steam that own Train Sim World 5 and Glossop Line, which also features the Northern Class 323 running services our Manchester Piccadilly, will be entitled to a 20% discount from launch for 2 weeks. That's nice for the Steam players. It doesn't really do anything for the console players, though. So there was, as they say here, there was a stream on Twitch. I will include a link in the description. It did crash to desktop a few times while they were running it, which is a little bit interesting for something that's so close to release. Granted, they're running in the dev build, but I've used that, and it's not that unstable, to be honest. Usually. The DTG Railfan TV stream will host a full preview stream a day before release on Monday, 30th of June on YouTube and Twitch. Now, let's go back to the video that we saw at the start. If I just scroll to the right place. And let me stop Train Bounce. Thank you very much for Hannah Silver, a wonderful composer. I want to go back through this because let's get to the bit where we actually see it running, because I want to talk about something I've noticed. So you won't see it here because we're under a roof. And you won't see it here because we're in the train. Now, I do notice that Manchester's a bit quiet there, people-wise. Could be for performance reasons. But what I'm noticing is shadows. So I know that there's been work happening on shadow reduction to improve performance across particularly the consoles and to try and help resolve the blurry textures. And I think we might be seeing that. So you won't see much under the roof anyway, you never do. But look at that, there's almost no shadows. There's a shadow of the train there, there's a big shadow of the building. Doesn't seem to be shadows on much, a little bit on the tracks there. But I think there's less. There's still good contrast in the environment, so I don't think that's an issue. The trains still haven't, but I think other things have lower shadows or less shadows. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes out in the public build or not, because of course that would have been all filmed in the internal dev build, which isn't necessarily the same as what actually comes out for the real one. I have seen a few people commenting on the stuttering that you see there. If you've got a pissy PC, you are going to see stuttering in this game. Just give up. It's a factor of Unreal. You even see it in the other Unreal Town games like Subway Sim 2. And that one's running in Unreal 5, so, stuttering is everywhere. But if you have a good PC, the dev build is a little more taxing because things aren't as ready, shall we say. So you often see stuttering in that. I do sometimes see a little bit on my machine, but generally speaking, it's pretty good unless you get to the point where it needs to reload another tile or something like that. So if you're experiencing stuttering, the best way I've found to resolve it, or as much as you can, is to actually run AI services with your head out the window and run in both directions in day and both directions in night, and that does tend to sort it out a little bit. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm dreaming about the shadows. We'll see. Anyway, it's coming out on the 1st of July in 2025, so it's not very far away at all. That's just a couple of weeks away, which is kind of cool. I dare say I'll probably get it about a week before and be allowed to stream it the day before, like usual. Alrighty, have fun, folks. It's been a pleasure bringing this to you, and as always, if you've got any comments or questions, chuck them down below, and I'll see what I can do to help you out. Do have a look at the Alan Thompson stream on Twitch. I will include a link to that in the description. I may even make a little excerpt of that myself and just a few key areas. I haven't quite decided yet. I want to ask Alan Thompson's team if that's actually okay before I do it too, because it is their video. Alrighty, have fun, folks. Enjoy yourselves, and see you later.
We played a game.